So can I drop some real world example on you guys right now?
Oh no.
Please.
This is
drop it.
crazy timely because, and I didn't even think of this when you asked me this a few minutes ago, Larry. But I had a meeting yesterday with a client who down in Ohio, and they want to start doing some PPC. And so they said, where do we start? And I said, okay, the first thing we want to start is figuring out what it is that we're promoting. But before that, take that step back. Before that, you're figuring out what the goal is and who you're promoting to, right? Like, let's build out that profile. So I gave them a piece of homework to fill out like a buyer persona guide to know they're like, okay, here's our target audience. Now let's build a piece of content that's targeted toward them, right? As opposed to starting with like, oh, I have a great ebook I've been sitting on, let's just get it out. Okay. It might
Which
be
is
right.
what so
but
many people do.
Yeah. and it could be okay, but more than likely it's not exactly targeted toward what your goals are. And they start with like the piece of content first, and then you try to make it work for that target audience, and it doesn't always work that way.
I think we're on an interesting like chicken or the egg thing. Like, do you already know your audience and you're crafting? So for me, we already kind of have a lot of audiences built in our business manager on Facebook ads. So I kind of would shape the content towards audience that already exists. But if you are starting from scratch, maybe I did jump ahead and say, talking about the content, maybe you need to be building these audiences.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily chicken or egg. I think it's more which group are you? Because if you're somebody who has already done a lot of audience research and you have, say even for us, we have different groups in our HubSpot portal. We know who we're talking to, but we've been working on that for a really long time.
Of course.
So if you're starting out and you don't really have an email list or you have a small email list, part of what you're doing is simultaneously learning more about the audience. So you want to sell this online course, maybe you haven't even created it yet. Throughout this process, you're going to be learning about what it is they really need.
Very true.
As you're building up to it. So I think it's more, are you just starting to build your buyer persona, or do you already have them? So that's just going to affect the targeting that you do. There's definitely going to, if you don't have a list and you don't have that figured out, there's going to be a little bit of guesswork involved in targeting.
I think you definitely,